Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here. We're going to be covering a fantastic question today. Is raid worth playing in today's world? So before we get into the rest of the video, if you haven't already, check out my QR code up there, scan it in the description and pinned comment. You'll find yourself links to take you exactly where you need to go to get this awesome free stuff. Download raid and you're going to get yourself a fantastic legendary. You are definitely going to be happy he's on your team. He's one of the best legendaries that you could possibly get right now. On top of that, this code is going to give you a full range of epic champions, one at level 10. You get Ugo, you get Tagor at level 20, and then you get Faye at level 30. And even on top of this, if you use the code Desert Queen in the first 24 hours of your account, you're going to be able to get yourself another Void Legendaries. So with just those two things, you're going to have 2 Legendaries and 3 Epics pretty much off the bat. And this is already going to be an extremely powerful starting team, which means how could you afford not to start playing Raid right now? With that, let's get back in the video. Raid Shadow Legends, been around quite some time now. About 7 years this game has been around, which is a very long time for a gacha game to stay relevant, especially since a lot of players are playing on mobile. I myself love the PC variant because I can just leave it open, tab in and out. However, it's had a lot of time to simmer, a lot of time to refine things and just make it better for each kind of players. With games like this, you're going to have your free-to-play players, you're going to have your, your people who spend a little bit, and then you're going to have your big whales, right? And for a game like this, it is honestly carved out a really good path for no matter what kind of player you are, which is quite surprising. I just hit my month played time, just like I believe earlier this week. I am very much so at the beginning levels in raid. We're making our way to the mid game. I think for a month played, having level 44 is pretty solid, as I've played a lot each and every day and it's been fun. So I'm going to be covering a lot of things that if you are going to get into raid, you should know, and what it has to offer, and if it's of course free to play friendly, because that is one of the most common questions asked when wanting to start raid is, if I don't want to spend any money, is it worth it? So to segue right into that, is it free to play friendly? It is, and it has gotten a lot better. So for example, if you use my download code, the QR code up at the top, I should have a pinned comment as well and a link in the description. You're going to be able to get yourself a free legendary and snag yourself 3 epics along the way as you level up from 10, 20 to 30. To put a price tag on that legendary, if you don't use like a QR code from me or another creator, this is something that's going to take months to farm. And I was looking back at some older raid videos from like 2020, 2022, stuff like that. A lot of the codes did not contain any legendaries, and most of them only had like a rare or an epic. And in today's world, right off the bat, you're going to have a legendary, you're going to have yourselves 3 epics, and on top of that, if you use the code Desert Queen, you're going to get yourself a second legendary. I mean, we're talking about months of progress given to you immediately. So that's like just an insane start. And if you were to play like raid, like there has been no better time to jump in with a new account, because what they're giving out is like months and months of farming. All right, so that was number 1. Number 2 is going to be, like I mentioned, raid has been around for 7 years. So they've been building up content, refining mechanics, adding a ton of depth into the game. There's a lot of fun ways to play regardless of the kind of player you are. If you want to play hours and hours every day, you can do that. And if you just want to log in for 5 minutes a day and take advantage of that, save energy and do whatever, that is a play style that the game allows, and you will do just fine as well. All right, so just taking a brief overview of what we have pretty much at the very beginning of the game, and you don't have to get any levels for. We have a pretty rich campaign here with a ton of different bosses, and you make your way across the map. This is going to have 4 different difficulties on it. We have normal, hard, brutal, and nightmare. So as we can see, I haven't even made it to nightmare yet. You can progress through the campaign, and as you can see, the campaign has its own rewards built into that. You'll find that most of the things in raid have like progression, and then each progression is going to give you good rewards along the way, along with a very, very, very powerful like final reward that you're like farming and grinding over weeks, or some of these things even take months, and at the end you're gonna get yourself like a fantastic legendary or like a sacred shard, definitely giving you good value for your time. And you're always just being able to like look forward to something, which is just nice in a phone game. You log on, you just always have this like, oh, this is the next thing I'm aiming to get and do, and you're rewarded for that. Just having an endless amount of stuff to do each and every day. It's a not linear progression. You can basically play the game however you want, farm what you want. If you prioritize one thing over the other, do you want gear? Do you want accessories? Do you want to farm masteries first? There's just a million things to do, and each boss having a different reward, which are clearly labeled when you click on it. Minotaur is going to drop like mastery scrolls, while the dragon lair is going to drop artifacts, and it shows you exactly what it's going to drop. So it's pretty clear cut and very easy to just be like, okay, this does this, that does that. I know for newer players looking at like a bunch of different screens and maps, it can get a little confusing, but Raid I think does a good job of just like putting everything in a way that's easily consumed. Also, speaking about like campaigns and dungeons, there is just a massive amount of events and tournaments each and every day. There's something going on in Raid, which if you just have no idea what to do, generally those are the good things to do. For example, in the top right here, there's a tournament. It says there's a Fire Night tournament. It ends in 1 day and 10 hours. You can click on it. You can see the rewards for doing it. You can hit the word go, and then it's going to take you right into the Fire Night, and then you can pick the stage you want to do. Obviously, there's a lot of stages. It gets very, very difficult, and on top of this, there's even hard mode for dungeons, which is even more content with even better drops. So the depth is definitely there. Again, for even each like dungeon boss, there's different strategies, there's different team comps, and that's just for like PvE stuff. Looking at PvP stuff, which is generally my favorite part of the game, we have the classic arena, which is you're just going against people who put up a team comp of 4. You have your team comp of 4, and then you battle each other. It's not live, they just set it there. It is someone's real team, but they're not on the other end participating against you. We have the live arena, which I haven't even unlocked yet after a month. Still looking forward to that. That's gonna be, I've seen a lot of videos on it. That's gonna have 2 players. You pick your team and then you're going against them. It's not like an auto battle. You pick your abilities, you pick your team lineup, and there's a lot of strategy and depth to that. A lot of meme comps, which I'm going to be looking forward to. So live arena, definitely very cool. And then tag team arena, I'm honestly just not a huge fan of this, to be honest. It's one of the few things I don't like within the arena spectrum, is like it's like a 3v3v3 on teams, and each team has 4. So this just feels like whoever has spent the most and the most time just wins. Like this guy has literally all legendaries at level 60 in every slot. I don't stand a chance, not even close. His power level's 1.32 million. Mine's like 100,000. So like this doesn't feel particularly great, and that's fine. It's not for me. There's a bunch of other stuff that is more suited for me, and we just focus on that. And I think that's what Raid does really well, is if you don't like something, just don't do it. Do something else. Speaking of something else I do thoroughly enjoy, clan bosses. This is just a big fight. You go right into the action. You have your juicer team. There's a bunch of different levels of the boss. The boss rewards are insane. It's very clear what he drops. So right now our guild is on brutal. We're trying to make our way to nightmare and ultra nightmare, which are the hardest versions of this demon lord boss. And then with that, you can just click on this. You can see exactly what it drops. You need to do 21.7 million damage to get this drop, and you get to do this every day, and these drops are really good. All free. It doesn't cost anything to do a clan boss, doesn't cost anything to be in a clan. In regards to Raid giving you resources for playing the game, they do a really good job at that. There's a lot of other games that I've played over time. Speaking of, the 2 last phone games I did play went into maintenance mode. But just to mention, like Warcraft Rumble, if you're coming from there to Raid and thinking about it, playing that game just felt so bad sometimes, because you'd sit there for like an hour, and at the end of the hour, you didn't get really anything. You didn't feel like your hour's time really was spent doing anything purposeful. In Raid, you spend an hour, you see what you get, which again, just feels good. We're not sitting there playing phone games. I don't have this loaded on my computer because the game doesn't feel good to play. If I didn't enjoy it, we just wouldn't play it. All right, so now that we talked about pretty much the main things you're going to be looking at when you first get in is the campaign, dungeons, and clan bosses. That's just going to be as a starter player where you look. Some things down the road, though, to look forward to, and if you're interested, we have Doom Tower, which is going to be the monthly grind. This is going to be a bunch of floors. You're going to have bosses, and these bosses are going to be very, very hard. I myself can't even get past the second boss because you need special gear and a special team lineup. And again, special team lineup means you need to be hunting for certain champions for certain bosses, which is cool because I myself like making things that don't work. So, I mean, I find that strategy fun. Maybe some other people, they don't particularly like that. They just want to breeze through content, like something like Diablo, right? You just like pump through it and it doesn't really matter what you do. As long as you're pressing like the A button, everything dies. This can be like that, but not really. So as you can see here, there's a ton of floors, a ton of things. There's going to be a lot of bosses. Again, each one of these is a reward you get, and each month they all reset so you can get them over again. So the players that are looking at this game like, oh man, I can't do anything without buying, that's just not true. You should be able to have a fantastic time and have more than enough things to do if you don't spend $1. And then we have hard mode here with the same thing. Like I said, the level of just things to do in Raid is actually just flabbergasting. And then we haven't even unlocked Curse City yet, but this is going to be like an interactive map that you get to pick a path. In the middle of the map, there's going to be a boss called Amos, I believe, and he apparently is very, very difficult, and he is fun to fight as well. Pretty much like a big clan boss in the middle of Curse City, which again, we haven't gotten to, but I've seen a few videos on it, and it looks pretty cool. And again, in there's going to be rewards for you just progressing through that as well. Also, speaking of the game's health, of course, oh, look at that, free stuff. Every day when you log in as well, you just get free gifts, and they mail you free energy, which is basically how you do campaign and fight, and you spend energy just like most, you know, phone games. And then when you run out, you're pretty much done for the day and you can do something else. But yes, so speaking of the like health of the game, I think a good way to gauge this is like, is there a lot of guides and resources for Raid? Are there a lot of content creators in the space? I was actually surprised at the amount of videos and recent content made by not only people I hadn't heard of, but with a few people I have heard of. So we have like Chris05, a fantastic buddy of mine. He has an amazing channel filled with a ton of information. Another guy that I recently found that I do enjoy and his content is very good as well is Game Leap. His videos are very solid and what I've been watching the past few weeks, so I can catch myself up on 7 years of content that I don't know. I've got definitely still have a lot of catch up to do myself, but it's been fun to learn. So seeing all of these content creators still making recent content, there's also tons of websites like Hell Hades. If you haven't checked that out, they're a fantastic resource to check out how good your champions are, masteries for those champions. Again, just a ton of resources for Raid still that is being constantly updated. And if that wouldn't be the case if the game was dead. So player base extremely healthy. The content creators still covering the game still seems very healthy. I myself, coming from Hearthstone to play Raid, I was very surprised at the amount of content. And again, just the creators in the space that just like are really enjoying the game and creating daily content for it. That is a really important thing for a game before you jump into it and want to really dig your teeth into it and spend time and resources into playing. As if there's nobody playing it and there's no content creators covering it and there's no resources to help you, it's probably not the greatest thing. All right, and for those of you who are just like into collections, I mean, look, so we have a bunch of different factions. It shows you how many I have of each. So for Banner Lords, we're 6 out of 79. High Elves, we're 6 out of 55. 9 out of 90 on the Sacred Barbarians, 12 out of 75. As you can see here, there is a lot of different factions and there's a lot of people within each faction. So in regards to just sheer amount of champions in this game, there is an astronomical amount, and each of them have their own special comps and unique abilities, making it so you could do some really, really wacky shit in this game. And that's what I look forward to as a, you know, I'm coming from Hearthstone. I play off meta decks in Hearthstone. I build my own homebrews. So I'm going to try my best to bring that kind of spice into Raid. There's always going to be the best, you know, champions in Raid, but what I didn't see a lot of when I was Googling was off-meta stuff and just wacky combos you don't see often that are really fun to play for PvP, which is what I really enjoy. All right, we've said a lot of fantastic things about Raid because it honestly has impressed me in comparison to some of the other phone games that I've played. Some things that I do not particularly like about Raid that we, of course, are going to talk about. It can't all be good in Dandelions. There are some things that I'm not a particular fan of. That's going to be, like I mentioned, the arena, the tag team. There's just a form of PvP that I like, but truly not that big of a deal. Also, the amount of just like pop-ups sometimes is a little annoying, no matter kind of where you go in the game. When you come back to the basin or when you first log in, there's like 2 things that pop up that want you to buy stuff. I know they have to make money. I would rather something pop up and me hit an X rather than me have to watch like an ad to get to where I'm trying to go. Watching an ad, I call it quits there. So if there's just a small pop-up that I have to hit X on, it's a little annoying, but at the end of the day, again, it's better than an ad. Another thing is there's just a lot of like small miscellaneous things that are very important. So for example, like the forge is going to be very important and you need a lot of resources to craft gear and things like that. And then you have the altar of souls, and a lot of this feels a little heavy on the side of just like it could be simplified a little bit more, and it doesn't need to be like you feel if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you're making a mistake or you're gonna make like an error and it's not gonna be fixable. However, that's why I'm here. I'm gonna be making guides on basically everything that you come across in Raid, how to do it right, the most efficient way to do it, and then probably also like more of a fun way to do it if you don't really care and you're just trying to play the game, but also not just absolutely waste resources. But you know, we don't need to min-max literally everything about raid, but just knowing which path to take sometimes will definitely be very beneficial, and that's what I'm going to be really focusing on. So yeah, there's definitely a lot to really like about the raid, and there's honestly not that many drawbacks. It's a free game, so worst case, if you don't like it, you can just stop playing at any time. But I do highly recommend, if you haven't tried raid and you are on the fence about it, definitely use that QR code there at the top or the link in the description or pinned comment and get yourself those legendaries for free, because I don't know how long they're going to be around. And if this 3 legendary, 3 epic start doesn't get you interested in raid, I'm not sure what will, because that's a value that basically we've never really seen before in raid in the past when it comes to just like new player being able to start with just an amazing team lineup and just a very, very fantastic champions that you're going to be basically playing with and using from start to basically the entire time you're going to be playing. It's not like you use them for the first 3 days and the champions fall off, right? Like, these are very, very solid people that you will be using your entire run in raid all the time, which is a good thing. All right, with that, if you'd like to add anything or add any comments in the section below, I'm of course always interested in those, and I will see you in raid, hopefully. My QR code. I'll catch you guys in the next video, of course. I'm Robert Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.